following program has adult language and potentially tons and tons of spoilers. Listener beware.
Hey, that last time you had it on the laptop, did it end up recording or it didn't record at all? The last time when y'all were doing the podcast.
The Jessica Jones?
Yeah.
No, that we recorded 5 minutes of that. That was
Really?
it. Yeah, nothing else.
Shit.
You know, that's why I was getting so irritated with it.
Okay.
Is we spent all that time was like an hour or so,
Yeah.
and it's just down the shitter. I mean, it's good because you're going to come at it with a strong perspective once we do it. But
Yeah, well, I got plenty of notes, so
Yeah.
if y'all want to like review it. So we're gonna talk about Logan. I've seen it twice now, back to back.
I'm a legal machine.
Mr. Fix-It.
Diabolu Frank.
A Marvel superheroes have arrived. Captain America,
Fantastic Four,
Spider-Man, Iron Man,
Spider-Woman,
the God of Thunder.
So I guess y'all want to talk about the little Deadpool teaser?
Wow, nice suit. Zip it, Stanley.
Okay, yeah, it was cute.
Well, see, the first time I saw it, the theater went fucking nuts. A bunch of fucking Deadpool nut fans screaming and hollering. So I actually didn't get to hear some of the jokes when he's laying on the dead guy. Because people were literally in the theater going, Deadpool, dude, look, it's Deadpool. He's going to be in the Wolverine movie. And I'm like, no, calm down. Of course, the guy also in front of me was vaping.
Vaping in the theater?
Yep.
What a douche.
I thought that was really fucking annoying.
I know Mac tends to have strong opinions on the vaping and whether or not it's appropriate in a public setting.
It's not.
Yeah, it was douchey. But this time, the cool thing was I actually got to look at more of the Easter eggs. So, like, I saw the Firefly poster in the background.
What was up with that?
I don't know. Well, they're talking about bringing back the show.
Yeah, but I mean,
that wouldn't
why-
have anything to do with a Deadpool.
Yeah, why, and there was a lot of them too. It's like
I
you
don't know.
couldn't miss it. So are they trying to tell us
There
that
was that. They had the Nathan Summers, which is, of course,
you think like
Cable.
Nathan Fillion's going to be having a role or something?
I don't
Or-
know. I saw a bunch of Logan posters. Like I said, the first time I saw it, people were just going nuts.
It was obvious that it was on a set, so they probably something they knocked out on a backlot real
Yeah.
quick. I mean, because they're not actually filming Deadpool 2, so he had to go in just to do that.
Well, the weird thing is this actually had the opposite effect on me. I actually have no desire now to see a Deadpool movie. I like the first one. I don't think I want to see the second one.
I'm actually more excited about Cable showing up for this one. And I like the people they're talking to now. Before, I was not cool with the choices they were making, but the last couple of guys they talked to sounded really interesting.
So you saw a teaser where he changed clothes in a telephone booth, and now you don't want to see his
Well, no,
whole
it's just-
movie that has really probably nothing to do with that.
I just they're gonna do this for the next like year. They're gonna do all these little I don't know. I just
No, the media campaign's gonna be exactly the same as the last
yeah.
one. Yeah.
And do I really want to watch the same movie again?
Well, we're
know
not
it's gonna be the
seeing
same
anything
movie.
that we
I don't know. I guess maybe it just got me. Yeah, I don't know.
My assumption is
If
that
you're,
if they're going to bring
if you're burned out now, just wait.
my assumption though is that they're going to bring Cable in. You can't just have Cable show up. You really have to get into the backstory of that character. I'm assuming it'll be largely a Cable movie with Deadpool. They had a book of the two of them combined for like 5 years, so there's a lot of material to draw from.
And I don't know. I guess I just wasn't ready for a teaser yet for him.
What do you think about the guys like Russell Crowe and Michael Shannon being brought up for Cable?
I think Russell Crowe would be a disaster.
You think so?
He's too old, I think, and he can't stay in shape. He's
Who's that other guy? The guy from
the fellow from Stranger Things. That's the main guy.
No. Actually, the one I liked was the guy from Avatar.
He's too goofy. The dude from Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Stephen Lang?
He's way too goofy.
No. He's talking about Stephen Lang from Avatar and from Don't Breathe.
Yeah, the dude.
The guy who's actually in his 60s.
The guy that he's been wanting to play
Yeah.
Cable or whatever. Yeah, he's doing too much campaigning.
Yeah,
Really?
you can't
Yeah,
be
that
too
shit's
thirsty. They never
That's
take
true.
you on if you're the guy. If you're like making a big deal about wanting to be the guy, they never make you the guy. It just puts them off.
I think Keira Knightley would be kind of a cool choice. Be something different.
For Cable?
Yeah.
Keira Knightley.
Yeah, they had mentioned it before.
Keira Knightley?
He actually says
Are you
it.
sure you read that right?
Dude, he actually says it at the end of the movie. If you watch the little Ferris Bueller thing at the end, he says the next one is Cable and something about Keira Knightley because they had mentioned her also.
The fuck you talking?
I don't remember that.
Yes, you've never heard Keira Knightley playing
Not in the movie. We saw Deadpool together.
Yeah.
I don't remember him making a
at
joke
the
about
very
Keira
end.
Knightley.
Oh, but I can tell you one thing, and it's a bit of a secret. For the sequel, we're going to have Cable. Amazing character. Bionic arm, time travel. We have no idea who we're going to cast yet, but it could be anybody. Just need a big guy with a flat top. Could be Mel Gibson, Dolph Lundgren, Keira Knightley. She's got range. Who knows?
The very end. When they do the Ferris Bueller thing. Watch it again.
He mentions Keira Knightley.
Yes.
Well, the fact that
I'm surprised you didn't.
The fact that he mentioned it before we even knew there was going to be a Deadpool 2 makes me think that it's just a joke. He was saying some bullshit.
Probably. But it would be kind of a nice twist.
No, it wouldn't, because she's fucking terrible.
No,
like
Keira
her.
Knightley's a good
No,
actress.
she's garbage.
She'd be
Domino.
awful for cable, obviously.
She'd be
but-
great as Domino. Yeah.
No, she made a movie called Domino.
We saw Domino. She was
Yeah.
not great in Domino. That was an
Really?
exception. No, Domino's bad.
My name is Domino Harvey. You're probably wondering how a girl like me arrived here. I am a bounty hunter. My name is Domino. What I say will determine whether or not I spend the rest of my life in prison.
I like that movie.
Domino's a terrible movie.
Terrible, dude.
I
Come on.
liked it.
No, did you see? Well, we saw it in the theater, and
Yeah, so did I.
especially during the acid trip in the desert. It's like, what the fuck are we watching?
kinda
And that
like
was
the
my
movie.
fault. I thought that was going to be a cool movie. I'd love Donnie Darko, and it was the same guy who did that,
Yeah.
who wrote it. Tony Scott directed it, and I think I may have even apologized to you for making you go see that movie.
I don't remember anything about it.
I barely
see
remember
one
it
now?
now.
No, it was
just the two
Oh,
of us.
okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
I remember seeing it. I kind of liked it.
By the way, it's David Harbour is the guy from Stranger Things, and that's
Oh.
the guy that they seem to be
Yeah,
most
he's too
serious
goofy.
about.
He's too goofy.
Did you saw Stranger Things
Yes,
though?
I liked him as
Why do you
I
think
just-
he's too goofy?
I can't see him as Cable.
Is he too? I mean, he's not as.
There's nothing action hero-y about
No.
that guy.
He was the action hero in Stranger Things. He was the guy throwing all the punches. He's like 6'4", you know?
But he's not like action.
He's
like,
also
dude,
bumpkin-y cop guy,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I don't know about Bumpkin. I think
No,
that's
he
kind
was.
of a no. He wasn't a
he
bumpkin.
He was an alcoholic.
Right, he was an alcoholic, but he was the guy who's dealing with the government, and he's the guy who's
you-
like getting up and he's the guy who's breaking into the compound.
Do you remember what Cable
And
looked
didn't
like?
he get his ass kicked? Like, he was
Well, because he's
terrible at
supposed
it.
to be.
Wait. But do you remember what Cable looked like?
Yeah, but he's still just this big dude, and David Harbour's a big dude. He can act. He's got a good voice. He goes through the Marvel training camp like everybody else does. He gets more fit. I can totally see him pulling it off. I actually think it's probably the best option they've given us so far because Stephen Lang is too goddamn old,
Well,
and he's too thirsty. It's not going to happen.
And well, you can't use Russell Crowe because he's already been in a DC movie.
Well, not just that, but who wants to take that on? You know, I mean, it's one thing because they're going to have him play Dr. Jekyll in the Universal monster movies.
Oh, really? I don't know.
So yeah, so he's going to be tied up with that stuff. And it was only Rob Liefeld that was like, hey, you know who'd be great? Russell Crowe. Well, maybe 20 years ago, but even then it probably would have been an issue. Because remember, they were talking about Russell Crowe being Wolverine back when that casting process first happened.
And he's the one that actually gave them the idea to hire Hugh
Jackman?
Hugh Jackman, yeah.
Well, after What's-His-Face, the guy, which is part of the problem. He's now What's-His-Face. The guy who was in that Drew Barrymore fairy tale movie, and he couldn't do Wolverine because he was still shooting the second Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise. Doug Ray Scott, that's that guy's name. And I don't think I don't know what happened to that guy's career. I don't know if he's even still acting anymore. Where Hugh Jackman, he really only has Wolverine, but everybody knows who he is because of Wolverine.
Okay.
And because
Well,
he's Jackman.
And the funny thing is, so I was trying to remember, I saw a movie not too long ago where the characters are running through this scene and they actually run into a play where Hugh Jackman is playing a character. Like it's like the play takes place in like the 1600s. So they're dressed in the attire and Hugh Jackman is trying to help them and he does his yell and they're like, what the hell is that? And he's like, that's my Wolverine yell. And they're like, yeah, that's his Wolverine yell. That's what he yells before he kicks ass. And I remember thinking, that's so weird that he's playing Wolverine in a non-Wolverine movie.
Right.
Don't remember anything of that fucking movie except that one scene. And I can't place. I was the whole time watching the movie like, what the fuck was that movie? I'm literally gonna have to go there to his IMDb and like try to figure it out. So I just thought that was weird.
Yeah. Well, I still want him to show up in something like Infinity War, especially now that he's supposedly officially done playing the character. So, and he just has to show up, and we'll all know he's Wolverine. He doesn't have to pop his claws. He doesn't have to. It could be like one of those scenes like in First Class where he's basically doing the equivalent of fuck off when they try to recruit him, and we'd still know exactly what was happening. What it would be great little cameo. I'm still holding out some kind of. I don't think it'll actually happen, but it would be so easy to do. It wouldn't cost anything. And if Jackman's serious about not being in the Wolverine movies anymore, he's got nothing to lose. I just don't know how much I buy into that, though.
What?
It's hard to. What has Jackman got besides Wolverine?
No, this movie's going to make a ton of money. And
Yeah.
Then he's going to come back.
He'll come back in some form.
He'll do like the bands do. It's the eternal farewell tour where, oh yes, I'm done now.
Well, remember, this
Except
one took place in the future, so there's there's time between.
And they kept hinting at, well, what happened? What
Are
happened?
we going to talk about the movie again, Brett?
Well, that's what I thought we were getting to. But I mean, that's the only thing I can think of that they can do another movie. Because,
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So I haven't seen any of the other Wolverine movies.
oh, you haven't?
No. Why would I? They're freaking horrible.
Wow.
So that's what the things like the serum they talked about, the whatever was killing him from the inside. Was any of this stuff referenced in any of these other movies? That was it. That was the only point in time watching this movie where I kind of thought like, damn, did I miss something? Or you know what I mean? The serum where they're talking about, oh, he knows what that's where
the green super soldier serum.
The kid's got the serum. He's like, oh, you can't. I know what that does to you. That turns you crazy. And I was like, oh, is that from a prior movie? Is that where he knows?
No. See, okay, so the last one was where he wanted to give up his powers because he wanted to die finally. Because he's what, like 500 years, right? In this movie, anyway.
Well, I don't know.
I never saw Wolverine.
Apparently not long enough to learn Spanish, but.
Well, because if I remember correctly, the first Wolverine, when they do the intro, they're showing him like in the different wars.
You know about the X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Yeah, and so they show him in World War II. I believe he was in
Civil
the Revolutionary War.
I don't know. I don't remember the Revolutionary. I remember the Civil War for sure.
Civil War. I could have sworn he was in the Revolutionary War too.
Hey, I saw that movie one time.
Yeah.
If you think though, it may very well be the case.
But. Okay, so in the last one, he lost his powers where he was dying, and it turned out that it was some kind of little robot that was inside of him that was affecting his powers, that was dampening his healing
so
ability.
It sounds like is that what it was then?
Kind of.
Talking about?
And so what he was dying from was actually the adamantium is poisoning him, and he was dying because his immunity couldn't fight it fast enough. So apparently his immunity is constantly fighting the adamantium that's in him. It's slowly poisoning him.
He's got like lead poisoning, basically.
But it's fighting it off the whole time. And in that one, when they took it away, he was dying. So when we watched this one, I was like, I guess his healing factor is down to like 10%, and so the adamantium is killing him slowly, which is what I got.
But that was explained in a prior movie.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But see, and this is where a lot of people are going to...
It's kind of neat because he's seen none of the movies. I've only seen one and like 1/5, 1/6 of a movie, so we're coming at this kind of virginal.
This is weird because I've seen all the X-Men movies and Wolverine, and this is going to fucking be insane. So at the end of the last one, when he's fighting the Silver Samurai, who has an adamantium sword, he actually cuts Wolverine's claws off. So Wolverine should not have claws in this movie. But because they
didn't they do the reboot in Days of Future Past, though?
That's the whole point. So the whole point of Days of Future Past was to reboot the last Wolverine movie so that he could have claws in this movie, which is just a big clusterfuck after a while.
Well, no, not just that, but the last movie that Max saw was The Final Stand. We saw that in the theater together. You didn't see, to my recollection, anything else after that.
No, that movie was so bad, I was like, I'm done with this entire X-Men franchise. I don't want to see any of these movies ever again. I don't like the vibe of these movies. I don't like the characters in any of these movies.
And so basically, literally, everything that got rebooted in
First Class.
Well, no, he didn't, because he didn't see that. So everything that happened after that, he did not see. So virtually everything that's been knocked out of continuity by that reboot was the stuff he hadn't seen anyway.
Right, like when they referenced Statue of Liberty. I saw that.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago. I saw it.
17. Pretty close, though.
So it sounds like basically everything except for whatever is killing him on the inside, I still got. The injection thing? Are you sure the injection thing wasn't from another movie?
No.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I'm not sure if I saw that.
No, because because remember he said, you know what that's.
Are we supposed to be recapping this movie briefly before we start? Or because we're sort of just now we're talking about details of the movie.
I guess we could recap it. Who wants to recap it?
Oh, you.
Okay, so the whole movie or what?
The gist of it,
just
yeah.
A broad overview.
I mean, there's a lot of incidents, but it's not really a complex story, so we can nutshell it pretty easily, I think.
Well, I like the fact that it's based off Old Man Logan, but it didn't do the cool Old Man Logan.
Don't talk about that, because I want to ask you about that later.
Okay.
We're not telling you to recap Old Man Logan. We're telling you to recap the movie we just saw.
Okay, so we'll
talk about that later.
So we just saw the death of Wolverine, basically what it is.
Mac may not realize that was an actual story arc.
Yeah.
So did you read that?
Yeah.
Is that what we saw then?
No.
Okay.
Because in that one, he's actually...
okay, so what happened? Talk about Logan first. Let's start with Logan first.
Okay.
I knew this was going to happen, which is why I was trying to stop him. Talk about Logan.
Okay. Johnny Cash, Logan, old man, slowly dying.
Well, wait, they started with Johnny Cash, right? No, they didn't have any. Did they have music at the beginning of the movie?
No. It's Wolverine in 2029. So I'm assuming he's been alive a long time and he's slowly dying.
2029 is not as far away as you think it is.
Well, but Wolverine it is. In Wolverine's world it was.
I think it's
is that a real car though? No. Oh, real quick. That Chrysler?
No.
Okay, I was going to ask you that after the movie because I was
the limo he's driving. He's a limo driver.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Is that the car?
I saw it and I was like, dude, that
was a pretty cool ride.
Yeah, I was like, I would rent that just to goof around town. I just didn't know if it was real or not. Yeah. All the mutants apparently are dead, and it's only Wolverine. What's his name? Caliban?
Well, what I got from it was that there hadn't been any new mutants born, and I did the math. It was supposed to be 25 years, so it's like 2004, right? And then I think the government systematically hunted down the mutants that existed. So we basically are living in a post-Days of Future Past future, except that Xavier lived in this one instead of being one of the ones who got cacked.
And the Sentinels aren't going around killing everybody.
Yeah, I mean, they never actually specifically reference the Sentinels, but they do reference Trask. Trask, right?
I think so.
So
yeah.
I think they're alluding to that without actually full on going sci-fi.
What was
with
Task's
it.
first name?
I think it was Donald Trask, wasn't it?
Was it? Okay, I was wondering when he said
comfortably close now to think about it to other people.
This military scientist created the most dangerous weapon the X-Men have ever faced. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we will explore the comic book origins of Bolivar Trask and the Sentinels.
Because when he said Donald, I was like, is this like a
This
parallel?
was a political movie. They were. I don't know how intentional that was.
Stop. Recap the movie.
Yes, we should probably recap the movie. Yes.
Okay, well, the whole movie or what?
Just say what the movie was about.
Okay, Wolverine is old. He's a limo driver. He seems to have a plan where he wants to buy a boat to go out in the middle of the ocean because Xavier is losing control of his powers and he's basically a walking, talking nuke. His life is then complicated by finding out that though all mutants are gone, this company went down to Mexico and started cloning mutants. And he now has a daughter, which is X-23.
It was Ford that sent that plant down to Mexico, right? Keep going.
But they're bringing it back. They're bringing the jobs back.
They're bringing those jobs
They're bringing those jobs back. The clone, I guess, Ms. Lopez was trying to rescue the clone and all the kids. They go to Wolverine for help. I did like the fact they played Wolverine beat to hell. Like, he looked bad. He looked like shit. And the movie's just him trying to get this little girl to a location that's in a comic book, which looked like it was drawn by Joe Quesada. I'm not 100% sure, but it looked like Joe Quesada artwork.
No, it was Dan Panosian. Mark Oakley, yeah.
He gets the little girl there, and it turns out that the children were initially supposed to be an army of mutants that were patented, but of course they have souls and ideas, so that's not going to work.
They weren't aggressive enough, so they didn't want to actually kill anybody, and they actually were starting to kill themselves. And then the government or the secret corporate agency, whatever the hell they were, they finally found a new X-24, a new Doomsday
Wolverine.
weapon, who is a direct clone of Wolverine that was never raised up from childhood, so he has no soul. These children, regardless of being clones, had a soul, so they'd rather die than kill others, and so they were going to kill them. But that's actually something I was confused about.
Me too.
I thought that they were going to kill all the kids, but then once the kids escape, then they're trying to capture the kids because they want to breed them. Is that what they said?
I think they wanted their. I don't see.
It didn't make any sense.
That part doesn't make sense.
But, no. I like the movie.
Or there may have been a detail we missed. So go in the comments and say, "Oh no, this was what they." Don't know, prize it if they reference something in the movie that we missed.
Yeah.
In the
dialogue.
Because that theater is awesome that we went to, but I feel like there's so much bass. I couldn't tell sometimes when the dialogue. I'm hearing rumbling of other shit in the scenery.
Yeah.
And if somebody's talking low, you can't.
There were some times parts of dialogue definitely because
especially
of that.
with the accents too.
Yeah.
Like Caliban I didn't hear sometimes. That dude, the scientist who I felt was explaining something.
Dr. Rice, yes, I missed some key information during the big exposition.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I noticed that too, but I wasn't going to kill it for that because I kind of just assumed I might have missed something. It doesn't make any sense in the grand scheme of the fucking movie. They should have killed those people.
There's huge logic jumps in this movie right off the bat. You can tell.
But let's stay with the synopsis first.
Yeah.
Finish the synopsis.
Okay, and so Logan he's trying to get X-23 to the rest of these children who are going to go to Eden, which apparently is in Canada?
North Dakota,
but
because they're going to North Dakota first,
it's
and then they're going to go to Canada.
But wait, so
the kids they had souls and irony.
But wait a minute. So when they kept saying they're going to cross the border, what border are they crossing?
Into Canada.
They're going into Canada.
So North Dakota's by Canada?
It's on the way.
Really? I really never thought of the Dakotas at all. So
nobody thinks of the Dakotas.
Yeah, I just never.
You'd think you'd go in through Michigan.
Really? Yeah,
or New York, considering they're mutants and they all hang out in New York like every other Marvel character.
So so Logan gets them there and they're able to stop the clone and the children are safe. Dude, I've never thought of the Dakotas. I seriously thought.
Well, it's North Dakota.
Well, North Virginia. Wait,
there's North Carolina. There's a lot of North. Not all of them touch Canada.
We're not starting a geography podcast, guys, so don't worry about it.
So basically, at the very end, should I go ahead and give away the ending? Be the spoiler that I am?
Please.
Logan finally dies, which...
in his fight with X-24.
X-24.
X-24 is defeated because X-23 blows his brains out with an
adamantium bullet.
An adamantium bullet that Logan had been saving to kill himself.
Yeah.
The gun that was introduced in the first act that gets fired in the third act. But unfortunately, they make a point of reminding you of the bullet in the end of the second act, so you're just waiting for it to happen in the third act because they made it too obvious.
They made it way too obvious.
I liked it. I thought it was a cool idea.
No, I liked it. I just thought that they shouldn't have reminded you about it.
The bullet.
He had already explained. They had already talked about the bullet, and Caliban had been like, "What's this fucking bullet?" That should have been the end of it until
there's a long speech between Logan and X-23 about why he has the bullet and what the bullet can do.
5 minutes before she fires it.
But the cool thing is, though,
that's for the dumb people.
But they allude that that's why he has it, and it's nice to find him come out like because he was going to basically put the professor on the boat.
But they didn't need to. They didn't need to. We knew why he was carrying around one adamantium bullet.
We know that, but the normies don't know that.
No, I think even the normies.
You think so?
Yes. Come on, dude. It's fucking...
It's like carrying a bullet with your name on it. You kind of figure it out.
When they made a point of saying it's adamantium, then everybody should have got it.
But I do believe a lot of people thought, oh, he's going to take him on a boat and they're just going to sail around the world. I believed he was going to take him on a boat and just kill him and then blow his brains out.
He was thinking about the ocean, so his fucking mind shit wouldn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
No, I thought that's why they were going out there. So if he killed him and he freaked out, he wouldn't kill everybody.
No, if he wanted to kill him, he would have just killed him. They would have overdosed him on the...
Yeah, you take him out on the boat, you keep him doped up until he finally dies, and then when he dies, you put a bullet in your brain, and then you're all done.
That's what it was. He wasn't taking old Professor out to pasture.
I really thought that was the point of the boat. I was like, that's
the boat's
gangster.
to get him away from people. So when he has a seizure,
I thought of Alaskan tradition where you put the old person on the piece of ice and you kick it out to the ocean and they slowly fade away. So
they wouldn't have taken so much care of him in the tank if they were going to.
And there's the whole foot-long claws coming out of his hand that could have done the job without bothering with bullets at all.
True. Okay, so that's the synopsis of the movie.
Okay, so we can start talking about the movie then?
So the kids, Wolverine dies, they bury him, and they walk off to Canada.
Yeah.
As New Mutants.
What'd you think of that last scene? Because I shit you not, on the theater Friday.
Are we gonna start talking about the last scene?
Well, I have a story for that. Because I started laughing when I saw it on Friday by myself with these people in front of me who were vaping set, and I was like, wow.
That's not really a story.
Well, we all know what it meant when they put the cross sideways.
Right. So, they bury Wolverine, and the girl gives a speech from the old Western movie that I can't remember what the name of it was.
What is that movie?
Is it Shane, maybe? I've seen it, but a long time ago.
Oh, my bad.
No, it definitely wasn't. That was a World War II movie.
See, why the fuck? Why didn't they remind us of that? But they reminded us of the bullet 1,000 times.
Right. Well, and not just that.
At first, I was like, "What the fuck is she even saying?" She's trying to say that was another time.
Yeah, her accent was strong too. That was a little. I wasn't sure what she was saying at first. I like that she has the accent, but the problem is, it's a key moment. You really kind of need to understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
And so for like the first several lines, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then I finally started picking up enough where it's like, wait, that's from the movie. Okay. Yeah. So we should probably explain. There's a point where they're in a casino in Oklahoma City. Xavier is showing a movie, or they're watching a movie on television. There's an old Western with Jack Palance as the villain. And there's a speech about, what it does to you when you kill another man, and whether they're good men or bad men, you're always going to have that brand on you. It's something you're always going to have to live with, forever. Being that X-23 was created to be an assassin, she's only one of these clones that actually has the urge to kill and the willingness to kill. It resonates with her. And so after they bury Logan, as the eulogy, she says those lines because he had sort of echoed those sentiments at a point in the movie. And then they had a cross on the grave, and at the very end, she pulls up the cross and lays it back down again in the form of an X. And I snorted. And I don't know if you heard me snort, but I snorted because I couldn't help it. I was like, I get what they were going for, but it was just so fucking on the nose. And see, at first I'm like, oh, is she gonna, like, when she first pulled it out, I'm like, oh, is she trying to conceal? Like, they don't want to leave a marker in case somebody's gonna try to follow them. They might see that grave marker and realize where they were going. But then when she formed the X, I couldn't help it.
Yeah, I thought that it was a little hokey for how deep they were trying to go there.
Well, and that was part of the problem. They were trying so hard
in the
to
theater.
be deep in this movie.
So tell your little story, and then I'll tell what I thought of the movie, because I feel like we're
jumping around
about it.
So when they did that, literally the guys in front of me were like, why are they laying the cross down? And the guy says, oh no, I think it's supposed to be upside down. And I'm like, can't you not see the fucking X?
Oh, that was just dumb people.
And they were arguing over why did they lay the cross down? And I was sitting there like, how can you not see a fucking X there? And these are the same guys that went nuts when they showed the fucking Deadpool trailer. Like, they're high-fiving each other where I could not hear the dialogue.
How old were these dudes, though?
Dude, 20s.
But that's just it. Maybe they've never seen the X-Men movies. Maybe this is the second X-Men movie they've seen after Deadpool.
They seem like really big bros.
Yeah.
Bro. So
there's no reason for them to have gone back.
I just thought it was funny because I was like, how can you not see an X? Like, I saw what she was doing. I
think they're just dumb. I think they were just dumb.
So,
yeah, I would.
You got to
That's an
appreciate.
anomaly.
Well, there's that too, but also you got to appreciate that when we saw X-Men in the year 2000, we're coming at it from a frame of reference of Christopher Reeve's Superman. So that people wouldn't have necessarily gotten that back then, and now it's 17 years later. So there's no reason why these guys would necessarily go back and watch all those damn movies. Even if they did go back, they might have gone and watched fucking Wolverine, X-Men Origins and shit, and hopefully stop there. Probably because they're like, oh, there's more Deadpool, and they go see that. And they're like, holy shit, this is garbage, or they're dumb and they actually liked it.
So your point, Mac?
I thought that the movie, I thought it was pretty good.
Really? You liked it?
I enjoyed this movie way more than I thought I was going to.
Well, I'm sure that the accolades it was receiving, because you weren't going to see this movie. You were going to let me and Fixit go see it.
Enough people were saying this is a really good movie that you should go see it. Some people are like, this is a really deep, thought-provoking movie. I think those people are fucking idiots. I don't know what was deep.
Killing's bad. Don't disconnect from humanity. Little girls can warm an old man's heart.
No, but that was a cool.
I don't think that they developed. So the father grandfather Logan Professor X thing, I don't think they developed that enough. Because he was really kind of just acting like Professor X was a burden. And I understand he was keeping him alive, so the fact that he was keeping him alive and he was trying to get the boat, so that worked a little bit for me. But I thought that he and Professor X, I could have sworn there was wasn't there a scene in the commercials where where Professor X is in like a blazer or in like a jacket? I feel like there's some.
He was in a Western jacket,
but he was never in that in this movie, was he?
Yeah, when they were leaving after he did that whole freak out in the hotel.
I feel like
when he was apologizing to everybody.
I feel like there's some scenes that were missing that were in the trailers. So anyway, I didn't feel that connection. Professor Xavier died so abruptly.
Spoilers: Professor X gets killed by X-24, the clone.
Spoilers: everybody fucking dies in this movie.
Yeah.
So it's anyway.
Well, the kids live. The New Mutants.
True.
So I didn't really feel that. I was expecting for that real heart tug moment.
Yeah.
And I never got it. And I felt like they were close. I thought the Xavier Logan thing was close when he was finally dead and Logan was just.
It wasn't me. I like that a lot.
After he buried him, you know what I mean? Okay, I was like, okay, that's pretty good. That's what I kind of was looking for. But then I don't know, with her, I don't know, there was something I didn't get with them.
The thing I liked was, me personally,
I think they were going for that. I just didn't.
I liked the story that you could, by watching the movie, you could see how important Xavier was to Wolverine. He literally.
I'm selling it a little short. They did do a good job. I do think that they could have gone a little. I don't know. I feel like there's a couple scenes missing.
Yeah, there's a scene that got me was one where the clone Wolverine 24 is walking with X-23 cuffed up, and he walks by Wolverine, and Wolverine could do anything to save her, and all he cares about is seeing Xavier and getting to Xavier.
And he does that a couple times.
Yeah,
he runs over. He keeps going. You're right.
I think
I might be selling that a little short.
I think what sold me was she saw how much he loved Xavier, that he put up with the abuse and all that stuff, that she understood he knew love, but not toward her yet. Like, he couldn't, because it almost seemed like he was trying to protect Xavier from whatever Xavier did. Because I actually liked the fact that his mind was deteriorating and that his powers would freak out, and he.
Oh yeah, I liked all that.
I was like, holy shit, that's such a cool idea.
And I liked that he was hiding his pills. He wasn't taking his pills.
Yeah, and I liked the fact that Xavier was really loopy. He was when he was I guess on his medication, he was all right, but as slowly as he starts disconnecting from his medication, he starts kind of being all over the place. I kind of like.
So the incident they refer to where he killed all the X-Men?
Yeah.
It would make sense if it was the Westchester incident, because that might have been like the last vestige of the X-Men. He might have killed them, and Wolverine was the only survivor of that. I mean, I'm sure the whole point was meant to speculate on that.
Different.
I'm sure.
When that happens, the book is different from the
yeah,
movie.
Now I think, well, two things. I want to make one point, and then I want you to go off on that. I think what happened, and I think maybe what Mac is feeling, is I thought they did a really good job of connecting X-23 to Xavier, and they did a good job of connecting Xavier to Logan, but they did not do a good job of connecting Logan to X-23.
And that's the point.
Since that's the third act.
But I didn't want that.
Well, and I think that the reason why X-23 starts the bond with Logan is because she's carrying on for Xavier. She's taking on Xavier's wishes because she loved Xavier so much, not because she has a great affection for Logan, except she's crying her face off at the end of the movie. So maybe just cinema.
So that's why the ending just kind of felt, and honestly, I felt while we were getting to the ending, I'm like, shit, how are they going to end this? because I'm pretty sure Logan was going to die. I mean, that was pretty obvious. And I'm like, I'm just not. And then sure enough, when they had the ending, it kind of did just kind of fall flat. Like, where she's like, Daddy. And I'm like, man, I should be feeling a lot more.
No feels.
And I'm like, I just have no feels. What the fuck? He didn't care really about you. And I felt like
he was going out of his way to not care about her.
Well, and he was doing.
He was trying to divorce himself from all of humanity.
They were both doing this for Xavier, right? He was taking the girl there because that's what Charles wanted before. But Charles is gone, so I don't.
And see, and that's where, and see, okay. So I think where they took the idea of Old Man Logan from the book and put it in this, what made it so powerful in the book is that. Do you want me to go ahead and give it away?
Yeah, sure.
In the book, the villains all attack on one day, like the villains.
Tell us what happened. Are you talking about Old Man Logan or the death of Wolverine?
No, Old Man Logan.
Okay, tell us the basics. Do you know anything about the Old Man Logan?
Okay, Old Man Logan.
I've never read it.
It's Wolverine in the future. The world is split into the Kingpin owns a part of the world or the country. The Red Skull runs part of the country. The Hulks are actually like backwood rednecks because the Hulk couldn't have children, so he basically banged his cousin She-Hulk, and they had inbred children that are literally inbreds, like redneck inbreds.
Sounds fantastic.
There's a dinosaur running loose in the desert.
Which, by the way, look, a lot of people shit on 90s comics. A lot of the stuff I hear nowadays is fucking super dumb too. Okay,
yeah.
But wait, so
and not just dumb, but it's like at least in the 90s there was like enthusiastic dumbness, like a big dumb action movie, like a big dumb Shaggy Dog. A lot of the stuff that came after 2000 is so venomous, so cynical, and so pornographically dark. It's like we're just gonna fucking marinate in the blackness.
So when they attacked, like literally every villain attacked every hero at the same time. So heroes were dying left and right, and Mysterio got inside of Wolverine's head and made him see more villains, and Wolverine ended up hacking through the X-Men, which drove him insane. So in the future, Wolverine, and it's a Mad Max type world. There's no real cities around. So he lives out in the desert with his wife and his 2 kids. And the Hulks show up to pay, to collect rent. And it's Mark Millar stuff. So it's really fucked up. In the book, you understand why Wolverine would be so like protective of Xavier or another character. Because I think Hawkeye's still alive in that world, but he's missing an arm. And he jumps around.
Hey, I like that when it was Green Arrow in Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about. Dude, Dark Knight has not been cool for a long time. And so I don't know. I mean, in the book, you understand why Wolverine would feel that way. I just felt like I hated the fact they kept alluding that something bad happened, and you don't know if Xavier had something to do with it or Wolverine had something to do with it, or like. And I don't.
What you're saying is like his motivations to be that much of an asshole.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Does he feel guilt for living? Does he feel like should he have been there? Or like was he nowhere near that blast that killed all the X-Men? And if he would have been there, he could have saved them. You know what I mean?
Or was he the cause of it?
Right. Was he the cause of it? Was he supposed to get some medicine?
Now, do you think that made the movie better, or would you have liked to actually seen that scene?
I think it's better to allude.
Yeah, I don't want to see it.
Kind of the Rosemary Baby trick, where like we'll tell you about it and you'll play the scene in your head, and you'll probably make a better scene than we could film.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that was fine. I had no problem with him being just an super ornery, dying son of a bitch.
We already saw the Last Stand where they just went around and killed all the X-Men. A lot of people didn't respond that well to it, so just let's not go through that again. And also, how much space would that take up in this movie, having to show all those scenes, set all that up?
The movie would have been way.
You kind of have to set up, like with this, you just have a vague sense of X-Men, where if they were to do that, you'd have to actually introduce these characters and do stuff with them, and that would take up a lot of real estate, I think. So probably best to just allude to it.
Yeah, everybody knows Charles Xavier, and you'd have to go like cast people to be the. It's like, what do you? Well, no, just that. Oh, so this guy's Cyclops now. That guy's Beast. Oh, there's no time for any of that.
What happened in the death of Wolverine too? Because
honestly, I read it once, and all I remember is I think he gets covered in adamantium and he dies.
Okay,
I don't remember. It's one of those reads where you'll read it. I remember Fryho loaned it to me, and I read it, and I was like, well, that was a waste of time, and then I just moved on.
Yeah. Well, and the big thing too is a few years back they replaced Wolverine with his son Daken.
Yeah.
And now in the current comics, Wolverine is X-23 as an adult or a young adult.
No, actually, no, they did that whole what is it, that last big series they did?
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars, where they took the Old Man Logan character from his universe and dropped him in what Marvel universe is this?
I don't know what they're calling it.
616-482-97.
Well, he's there now, and the cool thing is he has the memories of all the X-Men when they were murdered. And I've read the first couple of books where he actually he writes on his arm the people he needs to kill so that past never comes, that future never appears. And
pretty cool.
They actually are like, you can't kill these people. He's like, no, if they're dead, it's not going to happen. And there's a really cool scene where Jean Grey has him there, and it's supposed to be the day that the attack occurs, and nothing happens. And she's trying to explain to him, like, look, each universe, something different happens. It's not going to happen here, so you're okay. And for like 2 books, he's just fucking bat nut crazy, like trying to kill Mysterio and like these 4 characters, and they're all freaking out. They're like, you're not supposed to kill us. You beat us up, and you put us in cuffs, and we go to jail, and we'll do this dance again. And there's one character, he just hacks to death. And the guy's like, wait, you can't do this to me. And he's just slashing away. So that was cool. But I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed the movie a lot, if we're going to talk about the movie. I was going to ask you what y'all thought about what Fox is doing with their series compared to Marvel and DC.
I think it's a valid discussion point.
I didn't think you liked the movie. I really didn't think.
Hold on, man.
Okay. Well, it's off record. I was just kind of curious. Because I looked over at you and I never once saw you like,
What are you talking about? When he was fucking chopping dudes' heads off and lobotomizing guys, I was like, holy shit.
Really?
Yeah.
That was pretty brutal.
Like, I knew they were going to go, like, brutal with it. I didn't know they were going to go that graphic.
But what did you think about the language thing?
I thought the language, I felt like...
it felt a little overused sometimes?
Yeah, I felt that it was the same way with Deadpool, where I felt like there was a mandate that we gotta get this number of fucks in, so make sure you fucking say fuck this many fucking times.
How about the girl in the limo that shows her tits purely because, hey, we got an R rating, let's show some tits? Because Paquita was asking me before I went to the movies, they're going to do like Deadpool with all the sex violence. Like, I really don't think they're going to go sex. It's a little girl throughout this movie. They're probably not going to go with the sex. Oh, here's some titties. Well, great. All right.
It's not sex, it's just tits.
Yeah, but it's just so... That was just
I thought they
like rubbing the R rating in people's faces, though.
I just felt they overused the fuck word a little much for even my taste.
The fuck word?
Yeah.
You mean the F word?
The fuck word.
You either say the F word or you say fuck. You don't have to say the fuck word.
Say the word! Say the word!
I just felt it was kind of a little overused sometimes. Cause,
yeah, he laid it on a little thick.
Yeah.
I actually liked it. I liked that when
I didn't mind him
cursing,
using it. I just thought that it was they went out of a way. He couldn't just say it 2 or 3 times in a scene. He would have to like book into sentence.
It was very Tarantino. Like fucking fuck is the fucking fucked.
But I think it was a visual and language hate fuck because there's been 17 years of pent up frustration about not quite being able to do Wolverine justice.
I swear it felt like some of the fucks were dubbed in afterwards. Like I felt like
he said fudge
because there was one scene where I think he says it and his back is to you, and I'm like, it almost sounded like his voice was a little bit different. Like they had him read some lines and they inserted it. But it wasn't. Every now and then it was a little distracting. It didn't kill the movie.
They sit there and go, wait a minute, it's been 22 minutes without the fuck.
We need. Gotta
bring the fuck.
Gotta have more fuck bell. That's my Christopher Walken.
It was way off.
I know. These fucks.
Okay, that's better.
It's more like Jerry Seinfeld. Every time I try and do, what's the deal? What's the deal with the saying fuck word? You either have an F word.
Wow, that's full Mac right there. Well, no, I just
what's the deal with this watch in my ass?
Well, no, I was asking Mac what he thought. So, how do you feel Fox?
Well, we don't go there yet. No. Let's save that for the end because that's good.
Well, I am curious though. Why did they kill Wolverine if they're going to have future Wolverine and girl Wolverine in his place, or is that the reason why? So they can have more Wolverines?
I don't know why they killed Wolverine.
Yeah.
And that was a question I was asking myself at the end. I'm like, why did they kill him?
Did you think it was lame that they brought a clone Wolverine to fight?
Okay, so here's my deal with X-24. I thought it was good because you finally have some, because let's face it, no human can fight Wolverine. He's got fucking claws. Like like these guys. He stabs them once they die. You don't maim and scratch. You slash them, you kill them. That's the big joke about these movies with Wolverine. Is like, he should be killing all these guys. They die instantly. In this movie, they died instantly. The only way you can have him have a knockdown, drag out fight with somebody is to have somebody else with a healing factor.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I thought he just got his ass kicked too much, but I mean, he should. He was fighting
sense.
peak Wolverine.
Yeah.
I was wanting him. That was one thing I kind of didn't like in the movie. I would have liked for him to pull out some old tricks, like do the fucking throw some sand in his eye, do something. Show that the road hardened Wolverine still had a few tricks up his sleeve. Instead, he just got beat down all the time.
You wanted him to show that he had experience fighting,
just a little bit. He still needed to get his ass kicked because he was dying.
Well, dude, but the way he walked, when he was walking, I felt his pain.
Yeah, the limp was good.
Yeah, that was just the way he looked, and I was just like, oh.
But I think Hugh Jackman has always studied Clint Eastwood for his portrayal of Logan, but it was really noticeable in this movie. He was going full Clint Eastwood for a lot of that. The way he moved, the way he looked at people. There was a lot of postures, a lot of mannerisms that came directly from Eastwood, which works great, you know. Yeah. So I got no complaint about that.
So I think that the ending would have been better if he had the bullet.
And killed him.
And knew that he had to use his own bullet. This bullet is for him to put himself out of his misery, but he has to use it on X-24. Now he's used the bullet. You know what I mean? He's chosen life to save these kids. So, you know, instead, not only did he just got his ass beat and died, X-24 killed him. So, because she didn't save Wolverine, he died. And then she shot him from behind and killed him. I don't know. Again, I think there are a couple of other different ways they could have.
I did like the fact.
You know what I mean? Where was Wolverine's noble sacrifice?
Well,
did he have some? What do you mean? You know what I mean?
As far as subtext as text, it is a little on the nose for Wolverine to be at war with himself.
That's true.
That was really on the nose. I'm glad that X-23 is the one who did the deed, though, because one of the points of this movie, I think, was to show the new dog, you know, with the new tricks. And Wolverine isn't the guy who's going to go and shoot somebody. It was actually kind of cool when he shoots, spoilers, he shoots the scientist guy mid-exposition when he's explaining
that the reason why it scared the shit out of me. It was so loud in that theater when he was in mid-sentence.
Right. And you're focusing because it's hard to hear and he's giving major important exposition. Because here's an important scene. During the opening credits, I noticed of all people's names that show up on the screen, Eric LaSalle. And I'm like, holy shit, I have not seen Eric LaSalle's name in anything for a long time. That guy was in a ton of 80s movies. And he spent all those years, I think he was like in every season of ER, wasn't he? And then that guy just fucking fell off. No, Eric LaSalle, the black guy.
Oh, yeah.
He was from Coming to America. That's right. Shit. Anyway, so he shows up, and what it is midway through the movie, this family shows up with horses, and they're like farmers and stuff. And because there are all these automated vehicles, their horses are potentially going to get run over. And Professor X talks Wolverine into helping to corral the horses. And actually, it's Xavier using his telepathy that does it. And then Xavier forces them to have a nice meal together, and they have a nice night together, and everything's good. And Eric LaSalle and Logan go, and they have to deal with the water issue because these ranchers are taking their water, which is straight out of an old Western movie, that they're fighting with the evil land barons and shit.
Domain.
Yeah, I have amnesia. And then, you know, while they're off doing that, that's when X-24 comes and murders Xavier on the last good night of his life, when he finally starts to remember what he did, you know, that presumably killed a bunch of people and branded him. And then X-24 proceeds to kill the entire family.
I thought it was pretty brutal.
Which was really fucked.
I thought it was a dream. I thought it was a dream at first.
Really? Yeah,
I'm like,
it's so far
evil
out
Wolverine, it's got to be some dream and they're going to wake up. And I was like, oh, it's a fucking clone of Wolverine? Wait, he actually killed this whole fucking family? Like, holy shit.
Holy shit, that's wrong.
Real quick, when y'all jumped ahead, when she shot him in the back of the head, I did like the fact that you could see the aluminium skull, so he like blew the brains out. Like,
they want to make it clear this dude is fucking dead.
Doesn't make any fucking sense, dude.
It doesn't make sense that
adamantium blows through adamantium. I don't understand.
You would think it'd ding, you know,
a dent.
Yeah, or it would maybe break through in the first place and then rattle around inside the skull.
So we talked about the clone Wolverine. What did you think of Ryan Gosling and his Marauders?
Not Ryan Gosling.
Honestly, when I first saw it, I thought it was him from.
Well, before that, though, I still had a point.
Did you just call him Brian Gosling?
Is there no Ryan? Ryan Gosling, ain't that his name?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. The point I had was that they sneak exposition into that sequence because when Eric LaSalle and Logan are off to deal with the water, he's talking about how everybody's getting, you know, the food all tastes like shit, but they put these chemicals in it now so that people will eat it anyway because it supposedly makes you feel better for a little while. And it turns out at the end that Dr. Rice is explaining that that's how they got rid of the mutants, was to introduce this shit into people's food supply that neutered and castrated the mutants. I think they actually used the word castrated, didn't they?
I totally missed all of that. I couldn't hear what he fucking said.
And that's exactly the point, is you're listening so intently because you're having trouble catching all the shit because there's such a huge exposition dump, and they're just like, oh wow, they're connecting all the dots, bam, and then shit, that was too loud. Yeah, sorry. And it's like, no shit is going to scare the hell out of you because you're trying to hear what's going on, and then boom.
Which was effective, but I would have liked to have heard what he was saying.
Yes, it was kind of important. So, I mean, I think maybe they were trying to...
Well, it wasn't important. It doesn't matter. Does it really matter why all the mutants are gone?
No, I wanted to know what the hell was going on.
I think it's
cool. I didn't want that to be ambiguous.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why the mutants are gone.
I wanted to know.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, you may want to know, and that's fine. I mean, I was curious about it too. Like, oh man, I wonder why all the mutants got children of men, and now
and that's something I definitely want to bring up in a minute. But you were saying about the Reavers. I'm really glad that they used the Reavers. I do think they're really good villains for a Wolverine movie. I didn't like them as X-Men villains, but they work perfectly as Wolverine. The only thing that got me is that I kept waiting for them to reveal that these guys were all amputees because they got chopped up by either Wolverine.
I call them Marauders.
Yeah,
Reavers.
By either. No, you called them Reavers.
No, he called them Marauders. He said Brian Gosling and the Marauders.
I saw them in concert one time.
Well, no, the only thing
I kept waiting for the reveal that Wolverine was the guy who dismembered all these dudes, and that's why they have the robotic parts like in the comic books.
Well, the only thing,
or that it had been X-23.
The only thing I was disappointed is they didn't have the Reaver with the tank treads, which was always my favorite Reaver. The one that had the little square box with the tank treads. That was always running.
He was cool.
Screaming and shooting.
That would have been nice. Yeah. Maybe a little too Mad Max, but it would have been nice.
When they were chasing the kids,
I think they made a point to make this movie as less comic booky as possible.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think they wanted any fucking amputee with tank treads in this movie. This was a one paraplegic film, and that's Professor X.
No, there's a bunch of paraplegic
arms. They actually had one where his arm was a gun.
I don't think I saw
that. When they first run into the girl, he's one of the guys in the background. If you look, the rest of them are holding guns.
It doesn't matter.
He has his arm like this.
But you know what I'm saying, though? I feel like they went out of their way. Like, they didn't wave his robotic hand in your face. It wasn't doing all these crazy things with the robotic.
No, they had literally
it for the
waved the hand in your face.
But I'm saying he wasn't like going, like catching people's fists and crushing things with it. He just had a cool looking prosthetic that flashed on screen a bunch.
They did do that cool thing where his fingers went backwards and
folded backwards. Yeah, that was cool.
I was like,
but they weren't having them do superhuman shit with it.
Well, they were grabbing the kids with it a lot.
He carried a gun with it. Like, that was all he did. You know what I mean? It didn't shoot missiles or laser beams.
When Wolverine shoots it with a regular gun, it still blows the mechanism to pieces. And
I think they made a point to make you know that there's some superhuman stuff going on in this movie, but that nobody's really superhuman.
Yeah.
They didn't want to make... This isn't the shiny, hero-y Avengers side. This was more of a...
more gritty. I guess. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. Yeah. So they wanted to give it more of a realistic feel to it, where you don't have characters flying everywhere and shooting laser beams out of her eyes.
Yeah, so the dudes had the prosthetics, so you knew there was something super about them, but you know what I mean? I which I thought was good. Again, if he would have, like, if his fingertips would have shot missiles out or some stupid shit, you would have been like, oh, come on. So I'm glad they didn't do any of that. Yeah. So I'm glad you're tank tread guy. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
It would have been nice.
Because that was the shot, to see the tank tread guy that you like. Yeah.
Teardrop. It would have been nice.
I'm kind of glad it didn't happen. Because it's a slippery slope when you start putting amputees with tank tread.
What was that? The Caliban?
Caliban, yeah.
Well, but I just want to say, I thought that the villain was good and slimy. I like the Southern drawl.
I thought he was an asshole. Yeah,
that again gave you some subtext in this movie. There's
I felt his accent came and went. But
we've got the border wall. We've got the Latina that everybody's trying to chase after and capture. And there was a lot of stuff in there.
They're all trying to get to the border and cross the border.
Right.
There are drones. There was a
lot of drones. Yes.
So. Mass production of chemicalized food. They touched a lot of bases in this movie. This movie didn't have a lot of fat on it. It was a lot like Deadpool in that way. There wasn't a lot of fat on it. There was one destination in this movie, and they sort of just went to the destination. They didn't play a lot. There were not a lot of flashbacks. There were not a lot of side story origins. Hey, let's find out why Brian Gosling lost his arm. They didn't go down any of that stuff. Like, hey, who's Caliban? Maybe they should tell us. No, I'm going to tell you about Caliban. It's not important. Yeah, he doesn't like the sun. That's cool.
Caliban is in the last X-Men movie that came out, X-Men Apocalypse, and he's played by a different actor, and he was actually one of the cooler actors in the
Caliban
movie.
in the comics is a big dude, right?
No, he's small, and Apocalypse makes him.
That's right.
He turns him into the Hound.
He turns him into the Hound. He turns him like in the Hound, and they chase down mutants that way.
That's right.
But for the most part, no, he's this really skinny, meek kind of guy. Yeah.
But it's interesting that he has a small part in X-Men Apocalypse, but I thought the actor did a really good job, and it was kind of a highlight of that movie. And then you get Stephen Merchant playing the character in this movie. He's the writing partner of David Brent from The Office. What's his name? Ricky Gervais. And I thought he did a great job. I really thought the Caliban was going to be a throwaway character.
Yeah, he was good.
They were just going to kill him off in the movie.
There were some scenes where I couldn't hear him either.
Yeah, but I figured they were just going to whack him and that'd be the end of it. And they actually gave you enough time with him to really start to feel for him. I thought
his
they did a
eyes,
good job with that.
The way his eyes were, I don't know what it was about his eyes that just I felt for him.
They looked reddish and irritated.
Kind of the albino thing.
He would do this thing where he would just look at them. And he had this sadness in his eyes all the time. I was like, damn, dude, I felt bad for that character.
Yeah.
I still think he had one of the best lines.
Well, and you saw Logan freaked out when he thought he was dead as well, because these are the last vestiges of
But that pissed me off. He never found out that he was alive.
True.
Somebody blew up that cab, but he doesn't necessarily know that was Caliban.
He doesn't know it was Caliban.
But that was a good death. I really liked that.
I love that line.
Shine in, you know.
Yeah. Well, no, he didn't. He said, what was he say?
He said, yippee-ki-yay, and he blew him up.
I like how he's Australian.
That was another motherfucker thrown
He's
in
like, throw another shrimp on the barbie. He said, ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
I say that to all my prey.
He said, Martha! Martha! I don't know.
Any more?
I was trying to think of a line from Powder, but I never actually saw that movie. That would have been better. Powder. He was like, I'm Powder! And then dropped.
So, pretty much.
Oh, he said, get on the boat, the banana boat. Sunblock.
Okay. Any more?
I'm trying to think of bald stuff.
Bald stuff?
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Well, like you said, Frank, that was a good death, though. I did enjoy that.
Except he didn't take anybody out. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, he killed one of the Reavers.
Oh. Maybe he comes back with
and Ryan Gosling, apparently his arm was
Brian Gosling got Brian Gosling got slightly toasted in that blast, and he was fine.
No, he kept Brian Gosling out of the combat in that particular instance.
Yeah. I guess it's sign line blind Gosling just long enough so that X-24
7 who knows
could get savaged enough to stay down.
So did she kill that guy who was fishing and take his truck?
I don't think she killed him. I think they just went off hunting and she stole the vehicle.
Okay.
How'd y'all feel about that little girl like murdering people left and right?
Okay.
That was a little go.
She was fucking terrifying. That chick was terrifying. As fast as she was, as brutal as she was, yeah, she did steal the Black Widow move on off times, which was lame.
It's not just Black Widow, I'm telling you.
It's common, yeah.
That's the go-to female move now. You jump on the shoulders and spin around.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she was scared the shit out of me because she is just so brutal. She's
Aren't you already scared of children though?
No, I have a strong aversion of children. I'm not actually afraid of them.
And she had the way her forehead was and stuff, she was feral looking.
Her screams.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way she would scream like that when there was something very off-putting about that.
It's very primal. Like she was
she was scary.
Yeah.
Well, and see,
and I think that her not ever talking.
For half the movie at least.
Yeah.
That helped.
That added to the movie, especially
because you didn't know what she could do. I mean, if she's willing to almost kill a attendant at a freaking gas station, she could turn on anybody.
So just so you know,
I personally didn't feel like Xavier was safe with her being left in the hotel room.
So when I saw it on Friday, it was in a theater full of Hispanics, and the moment she spoke Spanish, the fucking theater erupted. Like holy shit! Because she didn't just speak Spanish.
Had a strong accent.
She spoke perfect Spanish. I was like, damn, that puts my shit to shame. Like I couldn't sound that damn good. And she was just straight Latina, fucking 50 words a second. You catch every third word and pray to God you understand what she's trying to say. Because even then, when she was screaming like that, I've been yelled at like that before. And
you're in trouble.
They get feisty. Like when they struck him.
What do you mean they? What do you mean they?
The Latinas. When they strike.
Ay, Dios mío.
Ay, Dios mío.
Maco. He said my name in Spanish.
I know.
Manzana.
Manzana. They're the ones who are putting all the genetics in our food, right? Isn't that manzana?
Apple. Mac.
Oh, what's manzana? Monsanto?
Manzana. Apple.
Oh.
Come on. You have
whenever Paquita's family's in town, we try to have the apple soda around. You gotta cook that stuff up.
But when she was doing, I loved when she started speaking Spanish and then she smacked me. I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie's saying a little something.
Yeah.
It's not deep, but it's saying a little something. And I did love, she had such a strong accent too. She was really rolling those R's. But what was she saying though?
Dude, I'm telling you, if you get yelled at by a Hispanic woman,
It doesn't matter.
You're gonna catch
it's
every third
50
word
words
anyway.
a minute. You catch every third word and you try to put it together and you pray you don't get hurt.
What
That's
about
it.
when what was her name, Guillermo or something? The mother nurse that was helping her.
She was just, screaming, "Why are you hiding?" That part, that was normal. When the
Okay.
little girl was going off on him, I was just like, "Holy
By the way,
shit!"
you watched Fear the Walking Dead, right?
No,
Okay, she
y'all shitted on it enough that
it
turned me
don't
off.
don't start now.
I never watched it.
But she was the mom from the first season that was the son of the guy who ends up turning into a total psychopath. And she's also the mom of Deanna on Orange is the New Black. So that's like the new, not Rosie Perez. Who is the one who was in La Bamba?
That's
Who
okay,
was-
man. I know you get us all mixed up. I get you.
No,
It's okay. We all look the same to
Pena.
you.
She's the new Elizabeth Pena, where whenever Hollywood needs a Latina, she's the one they go to for like those kind of roles. She's even played a nurse twice. She was a nurse in Fear the Walking Dead too. So she's typecast, but as long as she's getting the work, I'm glad for her.
We know you like the movie, Mac. What did you think, Frank?
Well, no. Well, let me okay. So I liked the movie for a while there. I was seriously like, this might be like one of my favorite comic book movies.
Really?
Period. Yeah. It was like I said, Logan and Xavier. I thought they really did have chemistry. It was kind of a buddy movie.
The way they played off each other was
You were
cool.
introducing tons of characters. They used the Deadpool formula. We're like, let's just keep this straight and linear, and we don't need to over-explain anything. Let's just tell a story. We're
Don't
trying to
have
get
a
from
billion characters.
we're trying to get from point A to point B, and we don't need to worry about. We don't need to take jets. We don't need to. You know what I mean? Let's just keep it straight. And they're being chased. And how are they finding them? Caliban track
Tracks
mutants. Boom. That's it right there. We don't need him. I just felt the ending felt a little flat.
It
was a little flat, and it was flat enough.
A little anticlimactic.
Yeah, and honestly, the whole thing with all the kids hanging out, like all the kids got there super easy. Apparently, it's just she's the only one that screwed up and didn't make it there. Like, there was a friggin' whole squad of them there. They had a whole squad, and
With
she
no
was,
adults.
right? With no adult. Like, and also all the kids are just living there. Like a Lord of the Flies. It was weird. And there was the one kid who was obviously like the leader of them all, who could control the rocks
He was
and
Richter,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
Was he? I don't know.
Yeah, it
Look,
was
man, I don't know these.
He was also given my ethnicity change from the comics.
But anyway, so it fell flat enough that it's definitely not like and I'm not really sure about the rewatchability of this.
I was
movie.
about to ask you.
I'm not really sure if this movie's really like, oh, I gotta go see this just slogging, depressing, where everybody dies movie again. It didn't have a lot of. It really didn't even have a lot. At least sometimes in these movies, I'll throw a little one-liner out to make you kind of laugh. I didn't think there were a lot of those even that I can think off the top of my head. There were a few where I kind of chuckled a little bit, but I can't remember any, like the bathroom scene where he's like, I'm not looking anywhere,
Well,
but even though that was
this
kind of a
the
fucked
movie
up
that
situation.
DC thought that they were making all those other times.
Yeah,
where
I
it's
think
super
you're right.
serious.
Yeah.
But this one sells it where DC was like, why the fuck is Superman and Batman being so shitty to each other?
Yeah.
This movie, it made sense for them to go dark and super serious like that.
But like, this was better than
I would put this.
This is easily the best X-Men movie I've ever seen.
Well, I would say I would put this X-Men movie with Days of Future Past. Those are my two favorites. This and Days of Future Past. All the rest of the X-Men movies are just
X2 was supposed to be good, right?
No, I didn't like
I can't remember. I thought X2 was supposed
no,
to be the
X2 was
best
good.
thing.
X2 was good. You haven't seen X2
I
in a
haven't
while,
seen it
apparently.
forever.
X2 was good. I don't know how good it is by today's standards.
Sure.
That's the issue is what was good 15 years ago may not be as strong today, but it was good at the time.
I just think it's a shame because let's face it, this is what a Wolverine movie should have been from
Day one.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, all of Wolverine's best movies are where he's just in a shitty situation and he's trying to just tooth and claw literally his way out and through people.
And where he's not an indestructible killing machine, where, yeah, he has the healing factor, but he can be wounded, he can be killed, he does have peril that he has to overcome.
Yeah, and I thought even like Hugh Jackman, I feel like, dude, you've just been wasted because before I never really saw him as a very good Wolverine. I never thought he was very good. This is one I was like, you know what, he's a pretty damn good Wolverine in this movie. He had some accent moving around. He was talking like he was from Brooklyn for part of it one time where he was lecturing the little girl when they were at Eden or whatever. I'm like, he's talking like Mickey from Rocky. It was really weird. But other than stuff like that, I thought he was good. And I'm like, okay, cool, fine. You know what? Hugh Jackman's Wolverine now. I'm
think
really late to the party there apparently.
Yeah.
But so I think it's kind of a shame that this is going to be the first and last Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie. But the dude's also like, what? He's getting up there in age.
I'm
so
curious about that. He's not as old as like Robert Downey Jr. or anything, though. He's still got years in him.
Well, the thing I liked was...
Are you sure he's not as old, Robert?
The thing is, so the movie I thought was pretty brutal, and the scene that comes to my mind is whenever Xavier is freaking out in the hotel.
He's 48.
And those soldiers are sitting
How
there.
old is he?
48.
Yeah, okay.
He's not old enough
not
to
that
have to
old,
retire. I think he's old enough to have to retire because he's supposed to be like this immortal dude, and because it's hard to stay in that good of a shape because Robert Downey just kind of gets to wear suits now, and he doesn't even step in the armor anymore. He's got to actually work out to keep that body up, so that's got to be tough on him. But let's be honest, man. man. We love Hugh Jackman. Or I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He's definitely embodied Wolverine. He's not the Wolverine I imagined going into the first X-Men movie. He's still way too tall for starters and way too clean. But he became Wolverine over the last 17 years. I think he's done a great job.
He was dirty and nasty in this movie, which I think I was like, oh, this is Wolverine. Wolverine's supposed to live through hell over and over and over again.
But I do call bullshit too. I'm pretty sure he's going to be back in Wolverine at some point because he doesn't really have anything else.
No.
Unless he wants to go back to doing musical theater and stuff.
Well, and he's even been saying, I won't do Wolverine again unless it goes to Marvel. Well, and then he's going to see like, holy shit, because it's got to wear on him. Every time one of his movies come out, people goes, wow, that's a shitty movie. Well, made a bunch of money. As a professional, he's got to be like, oh, Jesus, I'm making these movies and they're terrible. These are all garbage movies. And I'm sure he felt like, okay, this is my last hurrah. It's going to come out. I actually feel pretty good about this one, but I'm done. Until it comes out and people are going to be like literally just under the table on him. And he's going to be like, holy shit, this feels good. People are like, yay. They like this movie. And you're complimenting.
This must be how Chris Evans feels.
Yeah, you're like in the Marvel movies, which he came out and said recently that we'd like to play Wolverine if Wolverine was in the Marvel, owned by Marvel again. And he's going to say, holy shit, maybe Fox finally found this out. So if they want to have me back for one more movie, maybe with Deadpool, or have me back with one more, maybe I'll go and dip a toe in and see if we can. Yeah. And then he'll do another one. It'll bomb like fucking crazy. Everybody will hate it. He'll be like, oh, okay, now that was my
that and he needs a few years off too. He's done I think 9 appearances as Wolverine in 17 years. Like
that's pretty freaking crazy.
That's pretty fucking awesome. So yeah, I would see.
And a lot of those, he's always jacked too.
Yeah. So take like 5 years off and then come back for the third
Let's
Deadpool.
The serum may not have been totally fictional. You know what I'm saying? The serum that he used to get so jacked. Do you know what I'm saying about the serum that he injected into himself to get jacked in this movie?
He shot himself in the neck, not the butt.
I don't get it.
Like maybe Chris Evans and his super soldier serum.
Well, they've already showed that, wasn't it, the Abomination took the serum? Oh, no, but they did 2 different experiments. Never mind.
That was an attempt to replicate the super soldier serum. They created the Abomination in the Hulk movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow, that went way off.
What?
What?
Where the hell did you just pull that from, dude?
Well, you were talking about the serum.
So we talked about the movie. What'd you think?
Okay. I was with you. Watching the movie from the beginning. I thought, okay, this may be the best X-Men movie ever. This may be like the Dark Knight the Dark Knight of the X-Men movies. It's lean, it's mean, great fucking action sequences. I loved versus I usually hate car chases. I always check out during car chases, but when they're in the desert and Logan slams into the fence and then he's dragging the fence along with him and it's knocking into the motorcyclists and then they're going for the train. It's like, this is so fucking exciting. Such great action. And of course, X-23 is just a fucking ball of fury, just awesome. And again, because Wolverine can be hurt now, you feel the impact of those bullets a lot more than you used to. So that was really great. And I was with them. And then actually, it's pretty much with Eric LaSalle. A little bit of it in Oklahoma City, but when they get to the black family and then they're on the farm and they're hanging out and it's like, what the fuck is this shit? This is the same thing that happened with Age of Ultron. Almost literally the same fucking thing happens where they just let the whole movie grind to a fucking halt and have a bunch of people hanging out on the goddamn farm. These people are all going to get killed and it's going to be entirely these fucking mutants' fault, which is exactly what fucking happens. This was boring. I didn't get to like these people. I don't think they deserve to die for that shit though. And the movie never seemed to recover from it. It seemed like it really plotted for the last half of the movie. None of the action sequences were ever as good as the early ones again. It just really loses its way. Plus, as you pointed out, so much Children of Men as it progressed too. It's hard not to look at X-21 and see some Hit Girl in there from
23?
X-23.
You said 21.
Sorry,
I was thinking I might have missed a character now.
I know, right? So a lot of Hit Girl in there. So it's like, okay, well, I kind of saw that movie already. I did think I liked X-23 better because Hit Girl had so much posturing and she liked calling people cunt and all this kind of stuff. So it was kind of more goofy and more fun, where X-23 is just so fucking brutal. And the little girl does a great job of selling how vicious she is, where it could have been laughable, but they totally pulled it off. And I love that she's trying to be a Latina. But
it could have looked like Chucky when Chucky's on somebody's back and they're swinging him around.
Right, it could have been ridiculous. They did a great job with that. The reveal of X-24, it's like, okay, it was a good special effect. I totally bought that Hugh Jackman, young version, is fighting old version of Hugh Jackman. And also I like that the X-24 kind of looked like Sabretooth as well. So you kind of had that also. The Sabretooth from X-Men Origins, the Liev Schreiber version. But it just never really recovered after that lull. Again, the ending was pretty laughable, and there's just a lot of parallels to other movies that were better movies, especially Children of Men. So much Children of Men there that it lost me, so it was really good for about half of it. And the same thing happened with Days of Future Past. The first 40, 50 minutes of Days of Future Past are killer. It's such a good movie, and then it just sort of fizzles out and never recovers. And ultimately, I think I probably prefer Days of Future Past over this one. So it's not even the best movie in the X-Men franchise, and it does suffer from comparison to a whole bunch of other movies.
I just think if they were going to copy Children of Men, just fucking copy it. Just copy it. Like, I feel like there should have been a scene where he's holding X-23 and is just doing everything because she's the last mutant. But then you realize, well, she's really not the last mutant. There's not a shit ton of mutants. They made a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
So the whole last, I know, but the whole last of the mutants thing, well, are you trying to play that up or you're not? And then, because it's really not, right? Like, it's, that should have been a point of this movie that the mutants are dying. They're going away. Otherwise, what are you bringing this up for? You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the problem too, is it's in the food, and we see the little girl eating all kinds of junk food throughout the movie, so she's already getting this stuff in her system too to negate her mutant powers. So what has actually been resolved? Just because they killed the evil scientist, the chemicals are still going into the food. Are they going to go off and liberate the food supply or some shit now? I mean, I don't want to see that movie.
I don't understand what they were getting at the end. I don't.
They were getting at that we're killing Logan.
We're just killing Logan, right?
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I had problems with how they killed him because
and he kind of dies, kind of like Clive Owen's character in Children of Men. He just sort of fades away, and the girl that he's been working with but doesn't actually have a close relationship with is kind of mourning him. But it's just, I don't know. It just
it just sort of fell flat for me at the end, and it was enough that it knocked the movie down quite a bit for me. I didn't mind the farm scene that much. I definitely knew they were all gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
I'd seen enough of the movie at that point, and that's, I didn't like that.
Yeah, because they essentially killed all those people so they would have a nice night and they got a meal out of it.
Well,
an entire family dies.
Xavier died too. It's not like it's not like the mutants all got to survive and this family died. I mean, it set some really bad stuff.
Well, how about this? Don't let the guy with the mental illness set the agenda. Just because Xavier's like, oh, we'd love to. It's like, well, no, we can't. Crazy old man, shut up. We got to go keep on driving. And then that whole family doesn't die. Maybe they even get away without being captured again. It's just
he didn't know that Caliban was leading them. You know what I mean?
Sure, they don't know that. They don't. And they have.
I know. Wolverine's been jaded for 500 years. Now he's suddenly like, well, you're right. Let's
hang out with his family.
Right?
Yeah. And how about the fact that even if Reavers hadn't caught up with them, Logan still creates a situation where those rednecks are probably going to come and gun them down anyway. The looks.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. I'm like, dude, you're not going to be here tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. What just happened? Why are you doing this? You're making the dude pull a gun.
You're antagonizing.
He's obviously talked his way out of the situation before. Let him talk his way out of it. What are you doing? Punching the dude in the face. And sure enough, they came back to have vengeance on them that night.
But they're there because they needed a mass of people to get chopped to pieces. Because again, that's awesome. Just like the scene where the kid comes out with the big brawny dude's severed head, and you're like, oh fuck, this is serious shit. But since we'd already seen that, it's like, okay, now we're going to kill a bunch of rednecks. After a while, you start to see, oh, this is the new gaggle of cannon fodder. So it works so good in the beginning, and then by the end, it's like, yeah, you've already played it out. So that hurt. I still like the movie. I'll watch it again, but it very much felt played out by the ending.
I loved it. I thought it was a really good movie.
Why were you so surprised that I liked it?
I don't know. I guess because when I said I watched,
you must have doubts about. You must see flaws in it.
Because when we watched the
well, you are kind of a mutie hater.
Yeah, when we watched the commercial for it, you're like, oh, just Wolverine stabbing people again, and I was like, okay, well, he's gonna pretty much do that the entire fucking movie.
Well, no, I didn't say Wolverine stabbing. I said another stinky Hugh Jackman.
But stabby. No, I remember you literally complaining that he's just gonna go around stabbing people, and that's all he's gonna do. Because he did that jump, and you're like,
no, it's the dumb jump I don't like. Luckily, he only did it the one time in the whole movie.
I still think Future Past is better. I enjoy that one more. But in terms of where Fox, it seems Fox with Deadpool and Logan did a complete 360 in terms of how they're doing their films now, was really smart. I really enjoyed it. Where they didn't do the Marvel way, because you can't out Marvel.
Well, what's funny too, though, is they really invented Marvel too. When you think about it, the X-Men universe really invented what Marvel became.
But Marvel did it evolved faster and better. Mm-hmm. It was faster, stronger, better.
Well, they weren't ashamed. Fox was always ashamed of the comic book aspects and always downplayed that to their detriment ultimately. And so it's funny, they're not copying Marvel. They're not trying to do Marvel movies. They found a new formula for superhero movies.
No, they don't.
I commend Fox for doing that.
Actually, they didn't, because if you watch all the X-Men movies and all the Wolverine movies up to that, they're bad. Like, they're not that great. They don't hold up very well.
A lot of them are bad.
Marvel movies hold up pretty well. So Marvel shows you what you do if you want to be successful. DC shows you what you shouldn't do. So you have these two forks.
Well, and Fox has shown you what you do.
Yeah,
what you don't do.
And Fox was following. To me, it felt like the DC premise where we're going to do the movies this way and we're going to do it.
And no matter how bad they are, we're not changing our tone.
Yeah.
They're all wearing these fucking black leather outfits forever.
And I feel what Fox did with these last two was, hey, we're going to make Deadpool a comedy that's vulgar, a Porky's type superhero movie. And then we're going to do Logan, which is going to be a very hard, and not even a superhero. It's just a journey film, a very Western film. And we're going to go in this route and see how it works out. And I think it's going to work out fantastic for them. Can they do that with Fantastic Four? I doubt it. But I enjoyed Logan quite a bit.
No, I think they tried to do that with Fantastic Four. I think that the movie they made,
Fantastic Four was trying to be Marvel.
No. The whole point of that Fantastic Four, no,
it was very.
I think it was
It was a mixture of Guardians of the Galaxy.
No,
what are you talking about, dude?
The tone.
Are you talking about the old Tim Story movies? Is that what you're talking about? You're not talking about the one that came out a couple of years ago. No.
The one that just came out.
No, that had nothing to do.
That
with
was nothing
They made
like Marvel.
They said they started that. They wanted to make it as if it was not a superhero movie. They wanted to make it all ground in science and make it. The whole point was that we tried our campy superhero Fantastic Fours and they bombed. So
they didn't they just underperformed.
But you know what I mean. They weren't going anywhere.
They weren't going to be. They wanted to be the cool kids.
So they were going to start this new way of having a superhero movie. Then they aborted it 3/4 of the way through and tried to edit together it to be like a Marvel movie.
And you also had a nutty director that obviously couldn't handle the movie, which was self-sabotaging. And
so that Fantastic Four movie is nothing. It's not like anything. I wouldn't say that movie.
No, I think that is very much of a piece with Deadpool and Logan. I think that they let the creator have their vision. They kind of did what DC said they were going to do and then hasn't been at Warner Brothers. Is they got a director with a strong creative vision. They're letting them kind of do their story and giving them a lot more latitude than they had previously. But in the case of Fantastic Four, it was the wrong director. It was the wrong angle. And the dude lost his fucking shit during the movie and scared the shit out of everybody. You can't fucking do what that director did, Josh Trank. You can't just check out in the middle of a fucking movie. There's millions and millions of dollars riding on this shit. You're going to freak everybody out, which is exactly what happened. And that's why the whole last act of the movie is directed by other people and shit. But I think that James Mangold with this movie and the fellow who directed Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds himself, I think that they're all in the same lane. I think those are all the same production aesthetic, the same mentality going into those movies. It's just it worked with the latter two movies and it fucking was a train wreck with Fantastic Four. But I think they gave Josh Trank the same amount of power they're giving these other guys. He just fucking blew it.
Well, but remember that I do believe that wasn't Trank's movie by the time it came out.
By the time
I think it may have started. It may have started in the same vein as Deadpool and Wolverine and Logan, but what came out wasn't. We didn't see that.
But you can't flame out, disconnect, and hide in a tent smoking pot all day and not have the money men fucking lose their shit. So that's on Trank. You can't fucking do that. If you're a director,
that's fine.
And you can't handle the pressure of being the director, and you don't get the fucking movie finished. That's on you.
I'm just saying the movies that actually came out, I wouldn't put Fantastic Four in the same grouping as Deadpool and Wolverine.
Well, I definitely wouldn't put him in the same grouping. Well,
my point was
that was not a Marvel movie at all.
It's nothing. That's what I'm saying. It's so weird.
Marvel Studios, we should point out, because one thing I do find interesting, I didn't realize that the old Marvel flips are still being used for the non-Marvel Studios movies.
It was all X-Men, though.
True, yeah. But it's still the same format that Marvel had when they started their movies. I like that. I'm realizing now that the Marvel Studios did what they did to differentiate themselves from the satellite Marvel universe, but I still prefer the old method. I still think that looks better.
I think they did it because you're getting away from comic books, so you want to feature your actors that you've built. I think that's why they did it.
Well, but they wouldn't.
I don't think it's got anything to do with fucking
But
X-Men.
they wouldn't continue to use it on the X-Men movies. They're using the same formula on the X-Men movies that they did with all the previous
because
films.
what would X-Men? What would they have in an X-Men flip? Mystique and you know what I mean? Mystique and Deadpool. And no, they so just keep the comic flip. I don't think they've got a big enough universe. I don't think they have a big enough universe yet to feature their actors in a flip book.
True.
The X-Men aren't a big enough universe to do that.
Yeah. What are you're going to use Sansa? You're going to no, but they have that. They have the actors in the Marvel one though, right?
Yeah.
Like you've got right. Who the actors you use? You use Hugh Jackman, who said this is his last movie. That's what I'm saying. They don't have anybody to do a cinematic flip yet.
But I don't think they're going to either because I think that's Marvel Studios differentiating themselves.
I don't think it's going to exist for them to do it.
No, because they're going to recast Wolverine Wolverine, and then you've got a fresh new slate to go with.
If you think a fresh new Wolverine's going to last you several movies in, I mean, I guess that's fine.
why
I'm saying I know why they wouldn't this movie. I know why, because there are no actors to show.
The X-Men,
You would show Jennifer Lawrence just walking around.
who said she's done too.
Okay, so there you go. That's what I'm saying. There are no actors to make, so I understand why they kept their little comic book flip.
But I like it.
Yeah, I think it's better.
I do want to say too, I didn't like it when they used Johnny Cash hurt in the trailers, and I also didn't like that they used Johnny Cash when the man comes around at the end of the movie, especially because it was used so effectively in the Dawn of the Dead remake about 10 years ago. It just kind of bugged me. Of all the Johnny Cash songs that haven't been used in a big genre movie, why did you want to recycle one that was used very prominently at the beginning of another genre movie?
I think it's just another cheeseball musical cue that got on my nerve.
It's a great song, though.
But the ending fell too flat for you to play that song.
Well,
I don't know.
And also, when you've got Dawn of the Dead, which is about an apocalyptic scenario.
Nobody saw that fucking movie, so you're the only one bothered by that.
Dawn of the Dead that was a big hit, dude. What are you
want me to
about?
be like, hey, remember that's the song from Dawn of the Dead? Nobody's sitting there going, oh, yeah, that Johnny Cash song from
Even
Dawn
though
of the
it's
Dead.
running over the credits, and even though they're showing all of the destruction of the earth and everything falling apart during those sequences, it's kind of an
I think you're
important
giving the
exposition
general
sequence.
audience
Too much credit
for both remembering a movie they saw a decade ago and also what the musical cue was over the credits of a movie they saw a decade ago, and they probably just got up and walked out, and knowing who Johnny Cash is.
Oh, that's a knife in the heart.
Yeah,
Don't know
I'm
who
sorry.
Johnny Cash is.
The people that flock to go see Dawn of the Dead aren't like, you know what I really loved about that Dawn of the Dead? They're not sitting around talking to their friend falling asleep going, hey, remember 10 years ago when we saw Dawn of the Dead and they played that Johnny Cash song of the credits? Nobody was sitting there going, yeah, Logan, that reminds me of Dawn of the Dead from 10 years ago. Nobody. That's
look,
you.
If you're going to use Hurt in the trailers, then go ahead and use Hurt for the closing credits too.
Yeah, I
Too much money?
didn't understand that. Why'd you pick one Johnny Cash song for a trailer and not use it in the movie?
Just use his whole collection. Just Johnny Cash songs through the whole movie.
I'm surprised she didn't say a lyric from Hurt after that. So stupid, dude. That was really dumb.
I give you this crown of thorns. Or was that line? Never mind.
That's sort of it.
I thought it was a crown of shit.
No, Cash turned into the thorns because he didn't want to say shit.
That's right.
Because he found religion.
So in this movie, it would have been a crown of fuck. She would have said, I wear this crown of fucks.
They're
This
gonna
fucking
run-
crown of fucks.
Hey, you want to fuck with people? Use the 9 Inch Nails version at the end with the expletive.
I want to fuck you like an animal? Dude, come on. Oh, that's a wrong night.
No, they introduced the kids to that song while they're doing the flashback.
It was just really weird. So are they supposed to be? Are they supposed to be like some New Mutants band that they're going to have in some other movie? Is this X-23 chick going to be a recurring character?
That's the thing that I did find weird is you would think that they would be using this movie to set up the next phase of the Fox universe.
Because they refer to her as a New Mutant in the movie.
Right. Well, because they're going to do a New Mutants movie, but I don't think they're going to actually have these characters involved in that because I think that the New Mutants are going to be.
Then I think
they're going to be contemporaneous with Deadpool.
Then what the hell is the point of this movie?
See, you got to understand too. The X-Men continuity is extremely long and elaborate at this point. We're still in the 80s in the X-Men movies, So if you're going to have New Mutants, you could literally have them at the same time as Deadpool.
I haven't seen any of these movies, so I forgot that.
In fact, for all I know, they're going to have Negasonic Teenage Warhead in the New Mutants movie. I think that the
but Negasonic Teenage Warhead would not be a teenager in 2029
because it won't take place. It's going to take place in the same time period as Deadpool, which is today.
I gotcha.
So I think that they could have her in there. Arya Stark from Game of Thrones will be. I think she's supposed to be playing like Wolfsbane or something.
Oh.
New blog follows Alexa Mars blogging puppies most adorable cat. New Twitter follows Aaron Lee Art of the Brick DC. Ashley G Brody's Kitchen Knowing Flame Comics. Michael Bracco Namor Submariner Podcast. O Legends Studios Poop Culture Podcast. Rob Lean Say Hello to the Bad Guys Podcast. Wonder Woman Warrior for Peace Podcast. And I'm not sure we covered these guys before, so I'm going to cover them now. Ahmad, Brittany Wilborn, that bearded bastard, divisive issues, Elizabeth Avalon, Fork Found Reviews, funny comics, journeyman picture, Kevin Dodgy, Christy Mason, The League of Geeks Let's Chat Podcast, Mac and Cheese Podcast, Mike McDonald, Negro Justice League, Go Activate, Opus Online, Parenting and Family, Phil Edwards, Podcast Radio, Ryan Folan, Sean Merrick, Sound Hub, Stampede, Steve Sellers, Unearthly Visions, retweets came from Ange, Ara Francisco, Between the Pages, Comic Reflections, Darren and Ruth Sutherland, Dude Imagine If Podcast, Geek Yogurt Podcast, Kayla Jill Kurt Harris, Marcel Winland, Robert Pieto, Sean Phillips, Siskoid Talk Nerdy to Me, Tim Lampwood. Twitter favorites came from Ellipsis, Adam Stabelli, Cake for Dinner Christian, Columbus Comics Corner, David Goldinger, Don Stromberg, Fast Forward Rewind Podcast, Flix Watcher Podcast, Good Times, Great Movies, who noted that the Son of Satan episode, that's an intense comic, Jeremiah McDonald, Joe Crawford, Justice's First Dawn, Keith G. Baker, Long Box Crusade, on O'Leary Joshua, Over Jupiter, Sage-topia, Space Chief Stephen England, Steve Sellers, Tahira Pierre Cadet, Upstate Horror. And now the Mary Marvel Marching Society, the 108th Sage, a Beardo Talks Film podcast, Ali Batts, Bud's Beers Brutality, Chris Sheehan, Coffee and Comics Blog, Comics of the Golden Age, Darren and Ruth Sutherland, Dr. G Nerdologist, Lynn Walker, Gold Mine Productions, The Hammer Strikes, Hulkling Aw Yeah, It's Plastic Man, Jake and Tom Conquer Podcast, Jeffrey Brown, Just in Time Podcast, Katya Robinson, Mikey Flash, Monsters and Mystics, Nethead, Phelps Comics London, The Quipster Podcast, Randy Caldwell, Richard Field, Shazam Cast, Sean Phillips, Silver and Gold Podcast, Son of Cthulhu, Trucker Talk, Two True Freaks, and Unearthly Visions.
The Marvel Superheroes Podcast is in no way affiliated with or endorsed by Marvel Entertainment. All characters mentioned and audio clips employed are believed covered under fair use, with no infringement intended against their copyright holders. Views expressed in this podcast are assumed legitimate, truthful, and solely possessed by the speaker.
What the fuck was that?
It's either a murder or sexual intercourse outside.